Alright, so in today's video, I'm going to talk to you guys about utilizing a jake brake.
Oh, the habits of my heart, I can't say no. It's ripping me apart.
Welcome back to another edition of Trucking with LoShawn Parks. You guys could have been anywhere else in the world, but you're here with me. And you know I appreciate that from the heart. Alright, so in today's video, I'm going to talk to you guys about utilizing a jake brake, or how to go about going down a steep downgrade the proper way. Alright, I've been asked this question. I actually was emailed this question. Somebody wanted me to speak on it and elaborate on how do I go about driving down steep downgrades, and what is some advice that I can give. The best advice that I can give for you on a steep downgrade, or let's just take it back a little bit. Some people will tell you to go a certain gear below what you climb the mountain in, right? Certain people will tell you to stab brake, and all of this stuff is accurate information, okay? But over the period of time, how I learned, or how I do steep downgrades, is pretty much I utilize my jake brake, okay? And for the most part, that's all I use, okay? And I'm gonna tell you how I do it. This is how I do it. First, I see all the warning signs that's coming up on a downgrade. You're going to always get warning signs before a steep downgrade comes upon you. You'll see signs. Make sure that you're paying attention to the signs. But if you're not paying attention to the signs, then you will pass the sign and you will come up on a steep downgrade, and yeah, you'll be in a world of hurt. But this is what I do. I make sure I see what the downgrade or the grade level is of the downgrade. Now, for those that don't know, the higher the grade, or the higher the percent, the steeper the downgrade, okay? The lower the percent, the lower the downgrade. Y'all following me? Example would be, if it says that it's a 2% grade, then it's really not that steep, okay? More than likely, you won't see one that says a 2% grade. For the most part, you're going to see anywhere where it starts out at about 5% grade and goes higher, okay? And in the United States, I think the highest grade that I've seen in the United States has been maybe at 8%, 9%. Don't quote me on that. It could be steeper grades out here, but as far as my experience on OTR, the highest I've seen is an 8% grade, okay? Now, with each grade is going to require, or each bump in a grade is going to require that your speed be a little slower, okay? So most times, whenever you see like a 5% grade, they may want trucks to do about 50, 55. Okay, 6% grade, they may bring it down to 50, 45. All right, 7% grade, you know, it's probably going to be between 40 and 35. 8% grade, they're going to want you to be like at almost 30 miles per hour, okay? Now what I do is, when I'm coming up on the grade and I see it, immediately after I pass the grade level sign, I immediately take my foot off of the acceleration, off the gas pedal, and I put my truck into max jake brake mode, okay? Because now I don't want to utilize my brakes, because just in case of emergency and I need to utilize my brakes, I don't want them heating up too early, okay? So I'm throwing it in max jake brake. I'm taking my foot off the acceleration, and definitely make sure you're not on cruise control, okay? Cruise control off as well. And once my truck starts to slow down to the speed that is required for this downgrade for trucks, then I may bump my jake brake up one level to second level, okay? What what I do is, what I'm doing at that point is I'm releasing the pressure off of my motor and bringing my RPMs back down a little bit, okay? Bringing my RPMs back down. Now, once my RPMs start to build back up, or I start to see the speed start to crawl back up 5-7 miles per hour, I'm max jake braking it again. So I'm going back down to the third level of jake brake, allowing it to slow my vehicle down. And in this process, at this time, if it's coming up on a curve or you need to slow down a little bit more, this is when I start doing my stab braking, okay? Allowing the jake brake to do its job, which is to provide a brake to the motor, but not providing brakes on your truck. All right, basically what it's doing, it is basically bringing the motor or slowing the motor speed down, okay? Not allowing it to turn so many RPMs. And I just continue to repeat that process. I've come to find out that I could be on any downgrade with any type of weight. I could be 40,000, I could be 44,000, I could be 35,000, what have you, in the box. And as long as I follow this tactic of max jake braking, second level jake braking, utilizing brake as little as possible, back down to max jake brake, that I do not have to have my foot so much as focused on stab braking or on losing control of the vehicle, or being concerned with losing control of the vehicle. Now, I know this is going to be subjective. Some people are going to say, well, jake brake may fail, and this is true. This is why I conserve my brakes as much as possible, okay? I allow the jake brake to do its job. That's the purpose of it being on the truck, is to slow the truck down without utilizing the brakes and burning up your brakes. Catching your drums on fire, getting them hot, all that stuff. So my advice to anybody that wants to know how to handle downgrades, utilize the jake brake majority over your brake. Save your brakes for emergency purposes only, okay? Also, pay attention to the signs when you're coming up on a downgrade. 9 times out of 10, you're going to see a downgrade sign probably about a mile or so before the downgrade starts to happen, okay? So once again, once I see that sign, I throw my truck in max, I take my foot off the accelerator, take myself out of cruise control, throw on max jake brake, let the jake brake slow me down, okay, for that next mile. 9 times out of 10 on the max jake brake, it's going to slow the vehicle down extremely well, okay? And if it gets to that point where it ain't slowing it down extremely well, you can utilize a little bit of brake. Just don't stay pressed on the brake, okay? Don't stay pressed on the brake. Get it down to that speed. Allow the max jake brake to help you get down to that speed, and then just ride the max jake brake until your RPMs are getting high. What do I mean by high RPMs? You don't want to throw a rod, okay? So don't max jake brake until you see 25 RPMs and you see it just elevating. What you want to do at that point is bring it up to level 2 of the jake brake. Something else, a quick tip that I also learned is you could be in max jake brake. How to release some of that pressure if you don't want to go up to second level, just tap the gas a little bit. Tap the gas, it's going to release the pressure on it, and it'll bring it back to what I would call a steady jake on the max, okay? So that's the way that you can avoid from throwing the rod in your motor because you allowed the max jake brake to be on just for extremely too long without releasing pressure, all right? I hope that this helps somebody. I hope this answers the email that I got from somebody about how do I handle downgrades in trucking. That's how I handle them. And real quick before I leave, contrary to some people's belief, or that you're going to hear in school, is they're going to tell you don't utilize jake brake in snow or in rainy weather. This is true. Don't utilize it if you don't know what you're doing. But if you do know what you're doing, you can utilize the jake brake in snow and in rain conditions, I probably would not use max Jake brake, but you can use light Jake brake, okay? Utilize level 1 Jake brake or utilize level 2 Jake brake. This way, if you're in snow or if you're in rain, you're not utilizing the brakes, okay? And what happens in snow, what happens in ice, what happens in rain that causes jackknife or causes your trailer to swing opposite direction is that you're using brakes, okay? The Jake brake is not going to apply brakes to lock them up, okay? The Jake brake, once again, it just slows the motor down, okay? Then you don't have to worry about if the trailer does get out of control or if it starts to fishtail, starts to swing towards you. Now the only thing that you need to focus on is when that starts to happen, you want to accelerate, get back underneath the trailer instead of you focusing on braking, accelerating, braking. If you're traveling through the rain or through the snow, if you know what you're doing, once again, I have to say this again, if you know what you're doing, and a lot of the veterans can attest to this, you can utilize Jake brake, light Jake, or Jake level 2 in snow and rain to help control the truck opposed to you utilizing the brake. Because once you utilize the brake on snow and ice or in rain, that is what's going to cause the jackknife to start occurring. All right. So once again, hope this information is helpful to somebody, and I answered the email for some people. Once again, if you guys got videos that you guys would like for me to do, topics, subjects, please leave them down in the comment section below, and I'll get them done for y'all. Okay. Until then, remember, winners focus on winning and losers focus on winners, and we winning all day right here at Trucking with LoShawn Parks. All right. Don't do nothing I wouldn't do, like being safe. As always, y'all be safe. Gone.